I'm on triple captain this week. I'm triple
Mm.
captaining Erling Haaland against Burnley. I looked through their projector points all the way up to game week 13 or 14. Basically, Haaland against Burnley outscores everybody except Salah v Sunderland in game week 14. Don't know about you. I'm not waiting that long to play this chip. I want to do it now when guys are fit and rotation risk is less. I see no reason, despite what Pep tried to say today about Haaland having to come off against Arsenal. Haaland's definitely playing against Burnley. Will score goals and then come off, I think. So, fair enough, Sam, you had to play wildcard. But if you weren't playing wildcard, triple captain, a
100%.
no-brainer?
100% if I wasn't playing wildcard.
Oh, this is the thing.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the FPL Banger Show. My name is Siva. I'm joined by Sam. Game week 7, Sam. And we've got to start the most momentous, probably season-defining result of the week. I think...
Wait, Siva. Before we get into the pot, right? I just thought, this might be something fun that we can do. So I prepared a little quiz for you, FPL related, of course. Let's see if you can get all three right. So 3 questions, three sets of players. Tell me who has more points so far in FPL. All right. First one we have Tarkowski, DEFCON monster, except for the last week, but hit 5 in 6 versus Alex Iwobi. Who has more FPL points?
Oh, well, obviously, first instinct is to say Tarkowski, DEFCON monsters. You say first time he didn't hit DEFCONs this week, but since you put Alex Iwobi in, and I've never given Alex Iwobi any thought, like ever, so it must be Alex Iwobi.
Is it too obvious? Yeah, Alex Iwobi has 1 more point than Tak, 28 to 27.
That's insane.
Okay, next one, Mings, who, Villa very famously did not do so well up until last week, or DEFCON fraud turned DEFCON monster, Elliot Anderson.
Ooh, that's tricky because Elliot Anderson, he had the assists in Game Week 1 and since then has not done very much. Tyrone Mings, I mean, Villa, they've kept a couple of cleans. But given that the first question was like a misdirection with Iwobi, I'll say Elliot Anderson.
Well, you're wrong.
Ooh.
Mings has more points than Anderson. Okay, moving on to a different Anderson, Joaquim Anderson.
All right, my man.
Versus Bruno Fernandes.
That's got to be Joaquim Anderson, man. It's got to be Joaquim Anderson.
Yeah, he has 1 more point than Bruno. Mostly thanks to his missed penalty, I guess.
I'm glad you...
Yeah, setting it
I'm
up
glad
right
you brought
for
up Bruno Fernandes because I keep seeing these posts every week. If he had scored the 2 pens, he'd be the top scoring midfielder in the game. If he had got the DEFCONs in those other 2 games where he got 11 instead of 12, he'd be the top scoring midfielder, Sam. But then, Joaquim Anderson.
Yeah. So, yep, that's it. Maybe we can do this every week. Kind of fun. And I'll try and make it a bit less obvious in future.
Yeah, Sam, you got to work on your setup because you sort of led me into knowing the fact that there was clearly a misdirection with Iwobi and Anderson. But since you started with Bruno Fernandes, I mean, I was going to say this, right? Most momentous thing that happened this weekend for me, I think season defining. Bruno Fernandes deciding, you know what, I'm going to miss this penalty. Because he had a lot of time to think about it, right? The penalty is awarded, and then the ref says, no, I got to look at VAR. I'm not sure what he was looking at. It's clear pen. If I'm being honest, it's a clear red card, right? Last man tackle. But then the ref looks at VAR for a good 2 minutes, thinks about it. Nah, don't feel like giving the red card. And then the Brentford manager, Heath Andrews, hats off to him because this is shithousery to the next level. I'll make some subs now. Like, the guy wants to take his pen. No, wait. Let me bring on Rico Henry. That's going to change the game, right? I just see this. And I went and looked up the rules. I thought it must be illegal. How can a manager be allowed to make substitutions before penalty? It's legal. It's just that coaches don't do it because they're so scared. But Brentford manager, his first time job. Nah, mate, I'm making my subs now. Delay even further, sub slowly, come on. Bruno Fernandes has now waited 4 minutes. And Bruno Fernandes, head loss. Some will say head loss. I think he looked at that bench and he thought, one more week of this guy. He doesn't want to change his formation. He doesn't respect the Pope. Every time we win, it's the system. Every time we lose, oh, the system's perfect. I think he just, because it's such a weak pen. Like, he didn't even balloon it over this time. He just like, let me just pass it to Kevin Kelleher. Please catch it.
No, but it does track with his penalty patterns, I guess. The more time he has to take the pen, the worse he becomes. And I mean, it's not only him. I remember listening on one of the podcasts, I think by The Athletic, maybe the Tactics podcast, and they did some research on it. And it's true. Like, there is correlation in the longer you make a player wait to take a pen, the worse the pen becomes. Right, because pens are high pressure situations, and I don't know, they get into their own head, I guess. But more true for Bruno than anyone else. I mean, we've already had multiple instances this season blaming the referee and things like that. Like, if he's calm and no one's distracting him, he's a great pen taker. The moment someone gets in his head and rattles him, it's gone.
So what's your reading on Bruno Fernandes? Because in all seriousness, I mean, he's had 3 penalties. He should be the top scoring midfielder in the game right now. And yet, I look at the FPL page today, he's the 4th highest transferred out midfielder. After Cole Palmer, Gakpo, and Salah. Now, Gakpo, fair enough, not nailed anymore. Palmer, injured. Salah, fine, you want to afford Haaland. But Bruno, before Sunderland at home, is being transferred out by basically everybody. And I got to ask, why?
Because it's Sunderland. I mean, what are they, 4th in the table now? The only team that kept a clean sheet in game week 6, by the way. Not as easy a fixture as it looks on paper, but I mean, if I had Bruno, I'm not transferring him out, right? Like, you gotta give him one more week. But at the same time, I never would have had Bruno in the first place because I just do not trust Manchester United. I subsequently then do not trust any United players.
I think it's a bit somewhere in between, right? Yes, feel quite happy that I've dodged all these Bruno blanks. I only had him on free hit for game week 3 against Burnley when he scored the pen. But my take on this is, if you have Bruno, you definitely hold. And honestly, I wouldn't say no to even transferring Bruno this week. We got to park our emotion, because bottom line is United are getting a lot of pens, and I don't think that these are very fluky pens, right? Some are handballs. The Brian Mbomo pen. Brian Mbomo's been playing well, and he's going to get more pens for United. And I don't think anybody's going to take the pens away from Bruno Fernandes. There's probably a legit question as to whether they should, but they won't in the short term, because he's the captain. He's been there forever. He's got the backing of the players. And so I don't see... I think people sort of need to park emotion. It's funny as heck, because I don't own and you don't own. And so we get to laugh about it every week when something bad happens. And his open play threat is fairly non-existent. So in that sense, it becomes a very questionable pick. But because United do get pens, big team, refs, under pressure, and they just create enough chances. And Sunderland conceded 1.68 XG against Forest, which is quite bad if you're talking about clean sheets. 22 shots. On another day, you do not keep that clean sheet. And so, as good as Sunderland have been, I think if you got Bruno Fernandes, easy hold. And I'm seeing some, the sickos, even talking about captain.
I would hold. Yeah, I agree with the whole. I don't agree with transferring him in just for one fixture. Unless you're planning to wildcard in game week 8, then maybe justifiable, I guess, for 1 week punt. Yeah, I do feel there are many other, not many, but there are some other midfielders which I prefer to have over Bruno.
You say that, Sam, but I think once, because an attacking midfielder in Oliver Glasner's system is going to thrive. And so by game week 8, Bruno should be fine.
There's no way Glasner is living right now, right? But we're not that kind of pod, so we'll leave the future manager discussions to another day.
It'd be pretty funny though if Glasner spent the whole summer blocking Gahey's move. I'm going to quit if he leaves. And then the first chance he gets, he goes to Man United. Because he was, there are apparently, reports this week that Glasner said he wouldn't say no if he was offered, sort of like dude's married,
that's-
and then if somebody comes up to you, I
Yeah.
wouldn't say no to cheating on my wife if you asked me, but I'm not going to do that now.
That's the same thing I say when we get when you're on FM, right? And a bigger team comes for you. It's like you don't want to burn the bridge yet, so you just say, I'm not saying no, but I'm focusing on my own game and my current situation.
Speaking of Palace, though, Sam, and I think it's probably fair to come. Oh, I didn't speak about the other guy on the screen here. Igor Thiago, Sam. 6 million. Very, very good performance. 2 goals, very well taken. You can argue Binder and Harry Maguire did a lot to assist him. Is Igor Thiago a legitimate good pick going forward, or is it just a case of he's not going to play Man United every week?
Yeah, I think. I mean, first of all, he's not even proven, I guess, in that sense. Yeah, he's coming back from a
very long injury.
Yeah, very long injury, like almost the whole year. Am I right?
Yeah, but bald strikers tend to do well at Brentford. Bald guys with beards who look much older than they are.
That's true. And he already has 4 goals this season, which is respectable. So he came in game week 1 against Forest, then blank, scored against Sunderland, blank Chelsea, blank Fulham, scored 2 against United. But Brentford's fixtures up ahead does not look great, right? I mean, they have City, they have new and improved West Ham, and then Liverpool, Palace, Newcastle. Like West Ham aside, these are probably 4 of the hardest fixtures, or against the best defenses in the league, at least.
Yeah, and you could argue West Ham now looks a much harder fixture, because I was really impressed with West Ham against Everton. I'm quite annoyed because I made my transfer on Saturday morning, and Saturday morning Graham Potter was still the manager. And I then took a short nap, and then I woke up deadline. Oh, Graham Potter's not the manager anymore, and it's Nuno. And they set up like a Nuno team. 2 blocks of 4, solid. Everton really didn't have many chances, couple of set pieces. I was really impressed with West Ham. And I think Nuno's just sort of round pegs in round holes kind of thing. The right back is playing right back. The centre backs are playing centre back. He's picked the 2 best midfielders. He's told James Ward-Prowse, like, get out of my club within 2. I did not know that James Ward-Prowse is so hated by Nuno, but apparently he just doesn't like him, so sent him off.
2 different clubs.
2 different clubs, man.
It was really sad for me about Ward-Prowse, because I really thought he was going to break the free kick record, but he has not scored a free kick since he left Southampton, which is like 3 years now, right?
Yeah, it's crazy, especially with set pieces now becoming the whole, like, that's the meta. You would have thought a team would just say, let's just buy this guy and target set pieces. But no, I think West Ham looks a much tougher fixture. And with that in mind, probably, Igor Thiago's not maybe someone I would go for this week. But you mentioned Palace, Sam, and Oliver Glasner. And we got to talk about this result, right? Because Palace 2, Liverpool 1, and a really enjoyable game. And I think Palace in the first half should have probably run away with it. Mateta hit the bar. They could have been 3-0 up at halftime. Ismail Assar loves scoring against Liverpool. Every time he plays them, he scores against them. Back in the team. Ismail Assar looks like an instant transfer in this week, I think. If you've got a spare transfer and you want a midfielder at that price, no-brainer, right?
I think so. Yeah, he's producing the goods. At the same time, his stats has been almost elite whenever he plays. Now, he did miss out, what was it, two or 3 game weeks, right? But even then, right, like taking into account with the injury, he's still 6th in terms of XG in the entire league. 5th, I guess, if you discount Erling Haaland, who is like in another planet on his own, right? But really good stats, and I was kind of waiting for him to come back. Now he's back, and instant impact. I like Sa as a transfer.
Yeah, I think Sa very good. I've got 1 Palace spot available, and I'm quite tempted to go Sa. On the other hand, and I think forwards, like, he's not going to come up in a lot of conversations this week, but I think Jean-Philippe Mateta, for me, like, I'm very happy that I have him. I thought he was really good against Liverpool, unlucky not to score, and everything that I paid for, I'm getting. Consistent minutes, plays the full 90, still going to be on pens. Palace now have got most of their guys back, so they will start making more chances, getting more pens. And yeah, Europe's a bit of a concern, but I trust Glasner. People forget Oliver Glasner went the distance with Frankfurt in the Europa League before, so I trust him to know how to manage the two competitions. I think Jean-Philippe Mateta, I mean, this guy just like he lives to play. Like I don't think he's ever going to say, I'm tired, boss. Like put me out of the team. I think he will just keep playing, getting consistent minutes. And Palace's fixtures, right? We come back to fixtures for a sec. So Palace play Everton away this week. I think that's a perfectly acceptable fixture. Bournemouth, you saw Bournemouth concede twice the Leeds. Arsenal, okay, tricky, but then Brentford, Brighton, Wolves, and Man United. These are great fixtures.
Yeah, I think now will be good, but if you want to wait, then game week 10 onwards after the Arsenal fixture. That said, though, I wouldn't be opposed to bring him in now. I spoke a bit about XG earlier. Mateta is second, by the way, only behind Erling Haaland. And again, on Star, actually, he's third if you go by non-pen XG, despite missing 2 games. But yeah, Palace just as a whole look great. Stats look good, and they're backing it up on the field. Good transfers.
Yeah, unbeaten in 18 in all comps now. Keeps going. I mean, if you've picked Chris Richards or Gehi, congratulations. If you're like me and you picked Danny Munoz, yeah, we suffer together. Most expensive defender in the team who seems to, again, 9 DEFCONs this week. But I'm telling myself it is a matter of luck. And he got 0.4 XG, which is really healthy for a right back. And I'm happy to give him a few more games. I really don't want to knee-jerk Danny Munoz out just yet. I think they've got some great fixtures and hopefully it'll come good. But the meta, Sam, is the meta not just turning to getting 5 centre backs through DEFCON every week?
I think we discussed about this earlier, right? At the very least, I feel 4, right? If you don't want to go all the way to 5. But definitely the meta does favor getting DEFCON monsters, I guess, in your backline. It, like we said earlier, it just raises the floor of your entire team. Like even if in a week when no one keeps clean sheets, your 4 points would help, from all 5 of your defenders would help you carry your team a long way, I think.
Yeah, because I mean it's tough to pick. If you look at the top scoring midfielders, right? It's Semenyo, Jadon Anthony, Enzo Fernandez, Caicedo, Gravenberch, Garner, Salah, Cullen, and Stack. I mean, basically a bunch of, I would say, fluky hauls, DEFCON merchants, and then Salah and Semenyo. Whereas if you look at defenders, Marco Senesi at the top, Gehi, Alderete, the 3 top scoring defenders, all centre backs. And then after that is Gabriel, Timber, Livramento, Calafiori. So the first proper out-and-out fullbacks are Livramento and Calafiori, not even in the top 5. So
Timber, I guess.
Yeah, you could argue Timber, which is fair. But that Leeds game does a lot of heavy lifting because that's when Timber went crazy. But the first 4 centre backs, and more importantly, they're cheap. Senesi, Gehi, and Alderete. So what are we even doing here? Why are we even spending 5 million on 5.5 on Danny Munoz? Why not just get 4.1 million Alderete?
I will say though, Siva, the counter argument is that there is a bit of, what's the word? Survivor bias. Because we're looking at the top and we're like, okay, these are all DEFCON monsters. Yeah. But there are also DEFCON monsters which require quite a bit of scrolling to get. Take Anderson, for example, which everyone loves. Oh, he's a DEFCON monster. He's great and all that. I mean, he's way below in the list. Anderson's on 26 points. Tarkowski's on 27. And I'm not going to even count. They're like 20th, maybe, in the list of defenders. So I think more than DEFCONs is picking a team that actually keeps clean sheets, right? That's number 1. And then when you're deciding between the players from that team, that's when DEFCONs come into play, right? Because I think a lot of people just blindly go, oh, okay, yeah, they keep a lot of DEFCONs, let's get them in. Still way behind players that actually keep clean sheets, one, and actually have attacking returns. Like you mentioned, Alderete is third. Yeah, he has a goal and an assist. The haul this week definitely helped. Gehi, yeah, he has 2 assists and a goal. Senesi, 2 assists. So it's the combination of all of it, and you can't just be so narrow-minded and think DEFCONs is all I need, and that's it.
But I guess what I'm getting at is that it seems like there's a lot of value in defense. And Gabriel aside this week, right? The Gabriel goal doesn't happen. I think everyone's just downgrading the defense massively. Because you spoke about Joachim Andersen on 26 points, Van Dijk's on 28. And Liverpool have had fairly kind fixtures to start. And so you would think this is as good as it gets for Van Dijk. And he's still just about keeping pace with some 4.5 million defenders. And so I think coming back to Danny Munoz, I find it hard to justify spending 5.5 on Danny Munoz. I think I started off saying, he's an okay hold. And he is an okay hold. Like that goal will come. But long term, I just can't see him surviving in this new meta. In fact, I think even budget midfielders are going to struggle to justify, like you're going to struggle to justify picking a 5 to 6 million midfielder when you can just get some guy who has a chance of getting 3 points to 4 points every week.
Yeah, and I agree with that. I think more defenders is shaping up to be the new meta, right? Whether you play 4 or 5. I saw a lot of people who played their wildcard last week and still were stuck in a 3-4-3 or 3-5-2 formation, and I just feel it's a waste, right?
Yeah, I'm with you. We had a question here from Robin Doda, like, why are people still going 3 at the back on their wildcards? And I think they got punished for it this week, right? A lot of people benched Gabriel and Alderete this week, and they got, not say deservedly, but that's the kind of punishment you're setting yourself up for. Especially when you've got Salah and Haaland, you don't need to spread the fun so much. But I guess that takes us to the next question, Sam. We had a question here from Paul Cognac. How do we cover Liverpool assets for the inevitable 7-0 at Anfield in game week 8? So this is my issue with Salah, right? Like everyone says, you got to sell. He's washed. Liverpool look out of sorts. They're missing Trent. And I think those things are true. Lost to Palace, lost to Galatasaray yesterday. Salah was a sub. He came on for the last 30 minutes. Ekitike could be injured. Alisson is definitely out for a while. Now, Liverpool's next fixtures, Chelsea away, Man United home. I can see, like, on paper why some people want to sell, but I can't bring myself to do it. Chelsea are paying a bunch of random people in defense and keep getting red cards. And the referee this week is Anthony Taylor. So if any Chelsea fan is out there, Anthony Taylor and Chelsea generally means a red card. And then it's Man United in game week 8. And I cannot possibly in good conscience sell Mo Salah before Man United on a generational run of horrible results. I just can't do it.
Especially since he didn't start last night. For those of you who are listening, we are recording this on Wednesday afternoon. So we've had one round of fixtures in the Champions League. We don't know what's happening tonight yet. But yeah, I think after he's somewhat rested, I mean, he came on, but still, it's really hard to justify Salah, especially as you said, the budget pick seems to be doing well, so you can probably find a way to put both in, right? Salah and Haaland. I don't have Salah, but that's mostly based on principle because I don't want the most expensive player in the game. I've played with this for the past 3 seasons, I think, which was really hard. But yeah, logically though, if I was playing without all these kind of biases and self-imposed rules, yeah, I would get Salah and Haaland, right? It just makes sense now.
Yeah, and I look at those fixtures, right? Chelsea, United, Brentford, Villa, City, Forest, and West Ham in the next 6. I'm prepared to hold. And I think I like the fact that a lot of people are just going to ignore him because that means they can't get to him. It's not easy to get Salah and Haaland unless you're using a chip. So the people who don't have him are not going to get him. And I'm not sure that I need to spend my money elsewhere in terms of, do I need to have Cole Palmer? Obviously not. Do I need to have Saka? I'm not convinced yet. Like his minutes, Arteta's still sort of warming him up. Do I need to have Bruno? No, I think he's a great pick, but I don't need to have him. And do I need to have Victor Gyokeres? I think this is a question we got to ask you, Sam. Do you need to have Victor Gyokeres? Because I'm very surprised he made your wildcard team because he seems like a very un-Sam-like pick. He's horrible to watch. He, so far, I mean, I say this as an Arsenal fan, but he's just not, he's doing a lot of the work rate stuff. A lot of good cardio. I'm really happy he's getting his workout in. But honestly, like, he was never going to score against Newcastle. If Mikel Merino didn't come on, like, Victor Gyokeres is not doing anything in that game.
I went I went heavy on Arsenal assets. I have triple up on Arsenal players, but I kind of wrote off game week 6 anyway. I mean, it was tough against Newcastle, but I had to play my wildcard last week, right? My team would have done. I didn't do so well in game week 6, and it would have done even worse if I didn't play my wildcard. So it's just in future, in preparation for this nice run of fixtures now. I mean, I originally targeted game week 7 at home against West Ham, but managerial changes and all that may not go as well as I thought it would be. But then after that, Fulham, Palace, Burnley, Sunderland, good run of fixtures. So it's really hard to tell. I think Arsenal has had really tough fixtures. Arteta tends to play very defensively during those tough fixtures as well, which is not ideal for Gyok. Let's see how he does. I think I will reassess maybe after the Sunderland game, like in game week 12, when they play Spurs and Chelsea back-to-back derbies, London derbies. And then I'll see. I do have my head turned though. So I have Isak, I have Haaland, I have Gyok. I do have my head turned by Jarrod Bowen, who, despite West Ham's bad start, is now the third highest scoring forward in the game. With 3 goals.
Price drops, I might add.
Despite price drops, so you're getting at a discount 7.7. 0.3 less than what you would have paid at the start of the season. After this Arsenal game, they embark on a pretty decent run of fixtures. I guess they're Brentford, Leeds, Newcastle, tough. Burnley, easy. Bournemouth, and then Liverpool again. But I think the good thing about Bowen is that he's shaping up to be a real honest worker. Like no more than 1 goal a game, but when he scores, that's 3 bonus points, 9 points. Job's done, right?
Yeah. No, I'm with you. I really like Jarrod Bowen as a pick. I think the only thing that I will like, this isn't the week to go for Jarrod Bowen. I think Arsenal away, no matter how good at West Ham have been there in recent seasons, and they have done well in recent seasons. Obviously, they won their last season. But I think the biggest issue is that Arsenal defense, and we talked about cheap defenders, but I think Arsenal defense, still a different level, especially with the centre backs, right? Saliba and Gabriel, but especially Gabriel, because he's been DEFCONing in the harder games, and in the easier games, they're getting clean sheets. Arsenal have conceded, let's just recap, right? Arsenal didn't concede against United, didn't concede against Leeds. Now, against Liverpool, worldy free kick towards the end of the game. Against Man City, Haaland had 1 chance and he scored it. And then against Newcastle, it's a set piece. Walter is taller than Gabriel and he just scores that. That's not going to happen most weeks. Like, I look at this 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Honestly, 6 clean sheets. I would not be surprised. I would not be surprised if Arsenal keep 6 cleans. And so I don't think you cheapen out on the defense when it comes to Arsenal. Gyokeres, I think, like you say, Sam, actually I agree with you. Shouldn't draw any conclusions because ultimately those were the hardest fixtures he's going to have all season. Newcastle, hard. St. James Park, always hard to go. Liverpool, hard fixture. Man City, hard fixture. We're not like he's going to play Max Kilman and Alphonso Areola this week. And no matter how Nuno improves West Ham, he's still working with the ingredients he has. So I think if you got Victor Gyokeres, he's an easy hold. I honestly wouldn't say no to transferring him in this week. The fixtures are just that good. The minutes are good. And I said this last week, right? By hook or crook, they'll find a way to just, get him a goal. Like, he will get all the pity goals. He'll get the pity pens. Like, take this. The team will want him to do well. And he played the full 90 against Newcastle. I don't know why, because honestly, it felt like we were playing with 10 men at some points. Like, he wasn't contributing anything. But Arteta likes him. He stays on the pitch. And that's all we care about in FPL. Because as long as you're on the pitch, I think you're seeing, right, so many last-minute goals this week. The United game had a last-minute goal. Liverpool game had a last-minute goal. Arsenal game had a last-minute goal. Guys who can play the full 90 every single week, they're worth every amount you pay for them.
Yeah, agreed. I do feel there seems to be some pretty nice options in the forward line, which is why I'm playing a 4-3-3 right now. So I think there are more interesting forwards than midfielders.
I think the potential is that a lot of people are souring on forwards because they haven't seen the hauls in recent weeks. But I think the potential, like you've got Isak, I think it's a very decent pick going forward. Ekitike definitely will have annoyed Slot with the red card celebration a few weeks ago. And then obviously blanked against Galatasaray, picked up a knock. So I think Isak's a great pick. I think I'm still like Joao Pedro has not left my team simply because very smart guy got himself sent off in the Champions League. I love that. Knows that he wants to play Premier League football.
In like
96 minutes.
96 minutes. He hasn't
Absolutely
had a
stupid
shot
yellow
on
card.
target in the past 3 games, by the way.
That is such a. I mean, this is why you got to be careful what stats you're looking at, right? Who cares? Like Chelsea played the last 2 games with 10 men. As long as they learn to stop getting guys sent off, look at the fixtures. Game
Yeah.
year
I
on
mean,
was Forest, Sunderland.
I give you
Spurs,
that.
Wolves.
I give you that against United. Against Brighton, though, the red only came like almost halfway in the game, right? So that means in a half he had 0 shots, 0 xG. Like I mean, the first 3 weeks were great, and then it's all tapering off. But again, Chelsea as well, like you mentioned earlier, seems to be just they can't keep a consistent 11 because people keep getting injured and people keep getting sent off, right?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I wouldn't be transferring him in this week. I would agree with that, and he probably wouldn't make a wildcard team. But I don't think he's priority, urgent, must sell this week. Like I don't think it is. Again, Liverpool have had all their defensive issues recently, and I thought Chelsea, for all things considered, right, struggled a bit against Benfica, but Garnacho looked decent, got the assist. Pedro Neto still looks very good. You got Esteval. They've got options, and I think Joao Pedro's at an okay price. Like I don't think he is a priority sell. Although, if you don't have Joao Pedro, and you said Sam, you're more interested by forwards. I think there are some really interesting midfielders. Because when I look at this fixture ticker, one pick screams out to me, and I'm really annoyed I didn't go with him last week just because of past PTSD. But Doku, Man City, really decent. 2 assists last week, got the bonus points as well. And you look at these fixtures, right? Brentford, Everton, Villa, Bournemouth, Liverpool, Newcastle, Leeds. Like Pep's been speaking a lot of good things about Doku, saying that his finishing is improving, he's stepping up to the mark. And while everybody's talking about Phil Foden, I think Doku's got to be the pick.
Yeah, I mean he had God on his side last game week. I don't know if you know, he just got baptized like the morning or the day before the game or something like that. Other than that, I just feel player like Doku seems kind of it's a gamble, right? Like you could go 3 weeks with no points and then suddenly a game week with a haul and blanks and hauls. Like it's feast or famine.
You're basically saying you're scared of Ryan Cherky and all the other attackers they have coming
right
back.
now they're injured, right? Like, but once they do come back, yeah, it's really hard to tell. I think there is a lot of competition for him.
But I think the fixtures you have in front of you, and he's done well enough. Like I think he starts the next 3 at least, and I think at his price you can sort of risk 1 or 2 benchings. I think he's quite cheap. He went up today, so he's 6.6 million, not that expensive. And given that everybody owns Haaland, right? If you want like a second City attacker, which always is like the holy grail, you always want that that sort of other attacking option. We don't have Alvarez anymore. Foden did Foden things, right? Got a yellow card and did nothing against Burnley in a 5-1. I think Jeremy Doku, and the fact is, his pace is definitely helping against low blocks. Like his ability to dribble is helping against low blocks, and they're going to face more low blocks. I expect Brentford will just park the bus. Everton will park the bus. Villa maybe less so. Bournemouth definitely will. So yeah, I think Doku is a great pick, and I half tempted to get him in this week, just to sort of lowly own, so you get your differential spice, but not so expensive, so that you don't get burnt, is what I would say. At least not yet.
Yeah. I think it's a fun differential. I'll put it that way, right? Like if you were a safe manager, you wouldn't do it. But if you're looking for something fun, yeah, Doku is like no one talks about him. Has the potential to haul. Seems to be favored on the wing right now. Always a risk picking a second, not nailed City player. Because Pep has shown in the past, like despite form, he will bench you if he wants to, right? We had that with Savinho last season. Was it last season?
Yes.
Right? So risk is always there. But if you get it right, then like you said, it's like hitting the jackpot.
Yeah. You want to get on. I think you want to get on board while you have the chance because yeah, Pep's mood will change very quickly. But if you're the kind of person who wants boring, simple people who play every single week, yeah, fair enough. He's not a pick for you. I think. Um, I think those are the options I really want to talk about, Sam. I don't think there's anybody I'm missing out. Is there anyone else you'd be considering for a transfer in this week apart
I
from
just
the
want to say,
standard menus and
I just want,
Senesi's?
I just want to say that I had Ndai in game week 1. He blanked, transferred him out, went on a run of like 4 fixtures where he returned repeatedly, and the week I bring him back in, you get another blank. So he'll probably blank until I transfer him out of my team again. So I'll keep you all posted on that, and that's when you can start to bring him in.
That's quite annoying, Sam, because I brought in Ilman and I this week as well. So I really didn't pick up on the fact that he was making your wildcard team. So that's quite annoying. But so I must say Everton really looked poor, but I'm sort of chalking it up to it's Monday night. Maybe they were just tired. They didn't really want to play. End of the week. Maybe it's pressure under the lights. Maybe they spent the whole week preparing for Graham Potter's tactical plan, and then suddenly Nuno coming in just sort of confused them. So I'll give him a couple more weeks. Still got pens, right? So that helps him. But it is annoying that Ndai came off on 79 minutes for Dibbling because the whole selling point to me about Ndai was he'll play 90 every week. So, and I just sort of ignored Dibbling, which is kind of silly because I knew Dibbling could play right wing. So something to monitor. And certainly if I was making the transfer this week, I would just get Doku. Just chase the points, I think.
Also, Siva, before we close up, don't you want to pat yourself on the back for a great triple captain?
Not surprised. Like that's why it didn't even merit discussion. I fully expected to get the haul that I did. I'm back to being the top ranked content creator in FPL Game Week. Go check it out. You'll see I'm first ahead of all the people you're supposed to follow, ahead of Andy, ahead of I don't know whoever else it is, right? I'm not at all surprised by the triple captaincy, and I didn't feel stressed even as we were going into the last 10 minutes and people were like, oh no, generational fail, can't believe he's not hauling. And I was just like, it's a good decision. I captained the best player in the game against Burnley. He got his assist, and I was actually quite okay with the assist. And then of course he got his 2 goals. But that's what I'm paying him for, right? I picked him because I figured Monaco far enough in the week, not necessary to rotate. So he'll get his full 90 here, or at least close to it. So happy with the decision. Happy I went early. A bit of luck because Pep could have done Pep things and brought him off earlier on, sure, but he didn't. He still hasn't had a pen this season, Erling Haaland. He just keeps scoring goals. So to me, he's in a class above. So he was the safest option to captain. Obviously, he wasn't even the highest scorer this week, right? So what I should have done is triple captain Alderete. So
if you just played Alderete out of your bench, I think that's worthy of praise already, right?
Full credit to those people who did, right? And no sympathies for those who didn't, because you should have seen this coming, right? Alderete, 17-point haul, inevitable. He's going to do it again against Man United, right? Another team that can't defend set pieces. You can already see it written. Because if United win this game, that means Amorim keeps his job. Because standard, win, go into the international break. So if I'm a United guy who's tired of playing this stupid formation under this coach who has lost the plot, this is a must-lose game for Man United. So surely Alderete is getting another goal.
I just want to say though, Siva, right? It's a weird thing because your triple captain for Haaland worked, and all of us who did not triple captain Haaland and just merely captained him also kind of be happy with how the week went as well. So I think the thing that plays against his haul, is it purely a psychological thing? It's the fact that you triple captain him, but everyone else, like literally everyone, captain Haaland. It just doesn't make it fun. I always feel, and I said this last season as well, like you want to triple captain someone who no one has, so that it feels much sweeter. The haul is sweeter, even though the points may be less. But we don't play FPL for points. We play FPL for the feeling of being right when everyone else is wrong.
That's very profound stuff, Sam. And when you get your 9-point triple captain from
Jared Bowen,
Brian and Bomo later in the season, or Jared Bowen, yeah. So when Jared Bowen blanks against Leeds and you get 3 points from him times 3, which is 9, right? I'm sure you'll feel like as if you've achieved something, Sam. I won't. Points are points to me. I can't help the fact that the best triple captain this season happened to be captained by everybody else. I think that's generally how it goes, which is kind of why it's not that powerful a chip. Like we glorify triple captain, we put it up on this pedestal. It's honestly a fairly shit chip.
Now, I would argue that you don't even really need. Okay, we're saying Bowen. That's like the extreme end. But in previous seasons, there have been game weeks where the captaincy will be split between, example, Haaland and Salah, right? So that's already like 50% up of your opposition, I guess. In my mind, at least. Like I said, it doesn't really translate to points, but at least in your mind, you have that.
Yeah.
But this was one game week where everyone else had bad fixtures, and Haaland was the only premium player with a good fixture. So naturally, everyone captained him.
Yeah, if you wind back the clock, right, maybe 5 years ago, I'd have triple captain Foden just to be different, right? Because everyone's going Haaland, so I'll triple captain the other Man City attacker and then get the haul that way. But if I'd done that, I would have deleted my team today, right? So I think you pick what works for you. You pick the risks you can live with. I'm okay with taking a random -4 here and there. I'm okay with captaining Gyokeres in game week 2 and nobody had him. Those are risks I can take. This was not a risk I wanted to take. For me, it was an easy triple captaincy. And ultimately, I don't play my game based on what other people do. I don't really care. Like everyone else wants to captain the same guy. If they all want to captain the player I have, that means I got a good player. That's all.
Very wise, very logical, Siva, which is why you are ranked 60k and I'm ranked 1.5 mil.
Let's just don't ask me how many chips I've used. Okay, so and I think 40 minutes in, I honestly feel like there's not much more to talk about this week. This doesn't feel like a week to make big moves.
Yeah, I think partly because of that. Well, for one, we haven't seen Arsenal play yet, right? For all we know, Saka's gonna get a hat trick tonight, and then we'll all be clamoring to bring him in by the weekend. But as of
We're
now,
all gonna make our decisions based on one game against Olympiacos, which is very much. Although they are playing in London, they spend the whole week in London, so maybe that whole week of sitting at home, they'll be zen and ready for Nuno. Who knows?
maybe. But yeah, as of now, there's just no other big player to bring in, right? So not much to do. I'm rolling this week, by the way. I'm very happy with my team. I mean, I wildcarded last week, setting up for this week. So I'm happy. No transfers needed. Kind of boring
but
move,
obviously,
but yeah.
I mean, you say no big transfer, Sam. That means you're not going to have Jadon Anthony when he scores inexplicably scores again. I told you this right 3 weeks ago, Sam. I said I want to have Jadon Anthony in my wildcard. You, Sam, you talked me out of it. You're like, no, Siva. Why would you keep Jadon Anthony for some random haul? He plays for Burnley. Don't do it. And I listened to you, Sam, and look at what he's doing now. Second highest scoring midfielder in the game.
Yeah. I did not talk you out getting Jadon Anthony. I showed you the stats even, and it showed. Remember, we went through the XG stats, and he has pretty good XG. So even now, right, he's 8th highest for non-pen XG, which is really good.
He's got more XG than Salah, man.
Yeah, he has more XG than Ekitike and Mbeumo, Welbeck, Gyokeres, Minte, Richarlison, Joao, Pedro, Ndai. I could go on and on, but he is a good pick. I think if you are looking for a playing fourth mid or whatever your formation needs, right? But someone who plays, Jadon Anthony, the best option below 6 mil.
And yet, neither of us are going to transfer him in this week, which is he's one of those, like, we're going to say, oh, yeah, he's a good pick. You should get him for your team. We're never going to do it for our team.
Because we didn't structure our team to need playing 6 below mid, right? That's it. I'm happy with my picks. I went for Xhaka and Mukele as my bench picks, and both of them hauled this week.
All right. Fair, Sam. We'll come back to this when Jadon Anthony scores a brace against Villa, because he plays Leeds in 8 and Wolves in 9, right? And I think at that point, people are going to start getting itchy hands. Especially, I don't think he's making the England squad, so he'll be well rested over the break.
Yeah.
Okay. So in the meantime, Sam,
get your green arrows, guys. It's been a good Good time talking to you, Siva. Enjoyed it.
Yeah, very pleasant. I'm happy that you reminded me of my triple captaincy haul. Can't believe I didn't bring that up. So thank you.
Yeah,
So modest
I
of
was
me.
waiting. I was waiting the entire episode. Like, when is Siva gonna rub it in? Is he gonna actually go through the entire episode without a mention? So I thought I'll do you a favor and big you up a bit.
Yeah, I mean that's what you're here for, mate. And I will big you up when, when your Calafiori Timber double up hauls against West Ham.
I'm kind of nervous. Like, I'm waiting for the team sheet tonight to see if both of them plays, right? But
You'll be fine, buddy. They'll start against West Ham.
I didn't explain because I made this decision after we recorded last week. But I looked at the fullbacks and I was like, I want an Arsenal fullback. I just don't know which one to get. Like, Timber has slightly more points, but Calafiori also very attacking. Like, his stats are better. I could go boring and get Gabriel, which would have been great, of course, but I didn't, right? I was like, why not just get both? So one will haul 1 week and one will haul the other week. And if you keep them for a long period of time, it evens out and you probably get the two best Arsenal defenders to have. That was my thinking. Of course, Gabriel had to score in the last minute and throw it all down the drain. But good fixtures coming up. Let's see how it goes.
And in the meantime, Sam, go get your green arrows. We'll see you next week.
Bye.